sunshine and I'll shit on your parade. Don't get me started on doing Michael Caine. My opinion matters, yours will fall in last place. I'm not shutting up and you'll be learning my name. Fifth in the family, but first in my mind. 1 out of 10, but I'm ranking just fine. We've only got now, there's no afterlife. Look, Mom and Dad, I'm just speaking my mind. Everything's coming, I'm Kyle tonight. Everything's coming, I'm Kyle tonight. Everyone's coming on Kyle tonight. Wait, what? No, nobody's coming on Kyle tonight. Everything's coming on Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking to drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Everything's coming up Kyle tonight. You can't shut this mouth, but you're welcome to try. I only stop talking to drink, smoke, or eat and cry. I never shut up, gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die. Gonna talk till I die.
Hey, and we are live here with Kyle Loko Won't Shut Up, Season 5, Episode 8, right? This is Episode 8 of Season 5?
Yeah.
Just plowing right through Season 5
Catching
here,
up
guys.
to that 100.
We are 2 episodes away from Episode 100. Took us 2.5 years to get here, but we are here almost.
Yeah.
We're almost there. We're going to be doing a lot of beer drinking that night because... Well, we do a lot of beer drinking every night, so it really isn't any different. But they're going to be fancier beers that night. We're going to be bringing our good buddy James back, and he's going to be getting a reward.
Did we decide it's beer? Or
We're
are we
going to do
doing
the fanciest
champagne
beers
wine?
or champagnes. One of the two.
Okay.
We're going to get there. We're going to
All
figure
right,
it
we'll
out.
figure it out.
But for
We
Kyle
got 2
Mocha
weeks.
Won't Shut Up, I am Kyle Mocha, your host. Joining me, as always, every week is Mr. Justin Olimpado.
Hello.
How we doing, brother?
Good.
Doing all right?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, cool. Anything fun happening with you today?
No, not really.
No, you have a car full of tires. You picked
I
me
do.
up earlier, and you just have you have 8 tires on your car right now.
It's
4 of them
technically
are
7.
in. 7?
Technically
what
7.
happened to the fucking 8th one?
One of them was shot.
Did you shoot it?
No.
Did you actually shoot it?
Yes, right off my car.
Right off the car. That's
fucking
good.
took a
It's the
shotgun,
good
blasted
way to
it
do
right
things.
off.
Like Old Yeller. Take your tires out the way you take out a doggy. All right, that's a good note to start on, right? We're going to be having Zach join us here shortly. He is upstairs working on one of the shortest songs, not shortest in length necessarily, but
Shortest probably.
recording that we've done. Zach had a busy day at work, hectic week for him already, and didn't get here till about like 6 o'clock on the dot.
Yeah.
So we didn't start recording till about 6:20, 6:25, and it took about 5 minutes for him to write the premise of the whole song,
right?
And now it's taking about 45 minutes to fix it all into a listenable tune for us all here.
Basically.
But we are joined by a very, very, very special guest. I always say our guest is a very special guest, but I'm throwing in an extra very or two because now, for the first time ever, we have our super producer, EJ5000, Mr. Can I call you Eric? Eric. EJ Dikoski is here with us. Welcome.
Which is funny. I don't know if we've ever gone over this, and I don't mean to cut off your intro, but I just
cut
did.
it off immediately.
But
welcome to
I don't
Justin
know if we went into.
Shut up.
Yeah, I don't know if we went into this, but for the longest time, I didn't know it was you because he was just like super producer, EJ5000, and I'm just like. He's like, no, he knows you. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Hey, bro, with the little kid named EJ5000?
Well, let this be a PSA for you kids out there. So whenever I went to kindergarten, elementary school, my mom called me EJ. I was known as EJ, and
Right.
they said, Dukoski Eric, and I was like, actually, my mom calls me EJ, and they were like,
"Shut up,
your name is
asshole."
Eric, yeah. And so I was like, all right, okay, I'm Eric, So then got to college. And I did that. Reinvented myself.
It is something you're able to do, when you go to art school.
Yeah.
Now,
but I also don't mind if anybody ever calls me Eric who's known me from way back when, because it's weird to hear it.
I never heard EJ until at some point your social media became EJ, or social you existed for the first time, and it was EJ on social media. Something that wasn't, MySpace with our dumb names and shit like that back in the day. But I remember going and visiting you your first year of college. Me and my best friend at the time, John Shortino, went into the city to visit you and our buddy Nick Hari. And it was just kind of like, oh, EJ. And I'm just like, who are they fucking talking to over here? This guy isn't. This guy's not EJ. This is Eric.
There's definitely a certain amount of people in my life who bust my balls about it, and I would too. Like, I bust my balls about that, so I get it. So again, of course, whenever you refer to me, I mean, Anthony, the show, Let Me Ask You a Question, Anthony and Greg will call me Eric off of air 100% of the time. But for whatever reason, when they're on air, they know to.
It's
they just
something
do
that
it.
I'm always concerned with when we have somebody on the show, because if you have an online persona, and you don't necessarily want all of your business out there, maybe you just go by that all the time. So,
I mean, we've had streamers where we called them the whole time.
Yeah, we had Ego Viking on. I don't know what his real name is. I have no idea what his real name is.
I don't know if I know his real name.
His name is Ego Viking.
Yeah, exactly.
Or we've had guests that have multiple. Yeah, they have multiple veins that they work in, and it's like I'm not going to call you Jimmy if you want to go by another name,
right?
Jimmy. But the whole time I'm just going, it's Jimmy, right? I know you got a nice face paint on, but I'm pretty sure you're Jimmy. But Zach's gonna be coming down whenever he finishes this one up. Yep. So in the meantime, I just posted this on Facebook because it popped into my head while we were recording.
I did see. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. So in my opinion, I think every family. You have your family meals that you have, kind of not on schedule, but it's like, mom's going to make, her fucking signature macaroni and cheese or whatever it might be. But I think every family has like a dish that was like a dish that was always a side dish accompanying an entree that it should not have been involved with in any way. And in my family, if we ever had tacos, which tacos for 1 in 10 kids, you cook in bulk. So tacos is a great way to go. And mom was a smart lady, and she would just make tacos, but there was always applesauce whenever we had tacos. We didn't always have applesauce, but if we had tacos,
why
there was always
were you guys eating pork tacos?
No, not pork tacos. And then I made the post, and I inquired, and she said, well, it's because you're eating tacos, and there's things that are spicy in there, so you want something to kind of cool it down. Yeah, so applesauce was more readily available than other options. So it was, and again, you can buy a giant fucking jar of it and just throw it at the children.
10-pound can. Dude.
Yeah, just act like an ape and just scoop it like shit and throw it across the room.
Right.
And we'll
it makes a ton of sense, though.
Yeah.
Like, it makes a ton of sense, even though I agree. It's like, that is weird, but like, that makes some complete sense. Yeah, why not have applesauce to cool it down?
And as an adult, the first time I went over to somebody's house and they were having tacos, I remember looking around going, oh, there's not applesauce here. And then going to like Mexican restaurants living in LA going, all right, nobody has applesauce.
Excuse me, may I have some applesauce, please? What the fuck are you guys doing?
Applesauce? No, we don't got
Kyle,
applesauce
you're right
here.
about the seltzer thing, man. Maybe you should really start a taco-accompanied applesauce. Go out to Ortega and call it Appleside or something.
Yes. Fucking love it. But yeah, we would do that. I was curious if you guys had any weird maybe not a side dish, but anything that you grew up and realized not every family does this with their food.
I don't know if this necessarily counts, but I think it's more Thanksgiving or holidays.
Okay.
Like, I'm traditionally used to, like, turkey stuffing, mashed potatoes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, when my dad got remarried, their family, they would make I forget what the fuck they called it, but it was basically mashed potatoes mixed with the stuffing. They got hot bacon dressing on it.
Oh.
And I was just like...
That sounds amazing. But that's a specific family tradition.
Yeah,
that
I was like,
have.
I've never fucking seen this ever.
Yeah, a cold dressing, not a hot gravy, like a cold dressing,
like a hot bacon dressing.
Oh, okay.
They wouldn't put gravy on the turkey or nothing. No gravy.
That's strange to me.
Yeah.
Omitting something that's that important.
Well, they didn't have a lot. They didn't have like no cranberry sauce. No.
Yeah.
And like their vegetables were real, like Brussels sprouts. We're getting a little static.
Yeah, a little static. That's why I thought it was me. I'm not sure.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
But yeah, like I don't know, Brussels sprouts and like just fucking things, cauliflower, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Just weird,
here?
shitty sides. All right, Eric. Anything for you guys? You guys ever growing up have any weird traditions, like having ice cold milk with your pizza or anything like that?
I mean, yes and no. Like I was like Slovak and Polish and Croatian.
Okay.
Well, let's not do the Croatian thing, but the Polish and the Slovak thing. So like we just tons of cabbage stuff. So we would do where we grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania, I thought was called pigs in the blanket, which isn't. Pigs in the blanket, I guess everywhere else but Western Pennsylvania is the hot dogs and the bread, right? Hey now.
Psycho kitty.
Jesus, cat.
So, but on the west coast of Pennsylvania, where it's Glumkey land, it's a stuffed cabbage is a piece of cabbage stuffed with hamburger meat, or pigs in the blanket.
Okay.
So we did a lot of cabbage stuff, and so like a traditional New Year's meal would be stuffed cabbage, or like mock stuffed cabbage, or we would do mock pierogies. So a lot of Glumkey food.
Right.
But my mom,
Glumkey.
like her fuck it side dish would always be white rice with butter. And like
just
my
randomly
parents,
white rice with butter.
Yeah, and my parents are both great cooks, and like they would do it up to the 10s or 9 or whatever the saying is. But like often, if it was like she made a meal and just didn't feel like making a side, it would be. And she was terrible. She is terrible at cooking white rice. Like never used a rice cooker.
Was it always crunchy a little bit?
Either it was burnt on the bottom and not done at the top, like just awful.
Just made you some paella, then
Yeah.
you're good.
Yeah.
Fine.
Which she could make, actually, but she could not make white rice. And so that would be like her fuck it, here's a side. And she would put some black pepper on top and it'd be a big cold piece of butter on top. And that would be like the side.
Cold. Put
Hey,
the butter in cold.
Let me ask you a question on Polish sandwiches.
Is this hold one second? Is this here? Is this on? Is this actually on the screen?
Yeah, that's right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just
So you can play
okay.
with
I'm
it.
back.
You're
I'm back.
back.
So Polish sandwich is like a ham sandwich. Did you get butter?
Or mayo.
Like butter spreads? Because my grandmother would do that shit all the time.
My grandmother made all sandwiches with butter, not mayonnaise, spread over the bread, and then like bologna and cheese, and then butter bread. It was buttered bread for sure.
Polish stuff, we didn't do a ton of sandwiches, to be honest.
Okay,
like the ham stuff was always from my Italian grandmother's side.
The Polish hadn't figured out sandwiches yet. So like you cut it, you put it. All right. Before I get too far into insulting your heritage, we are now joined in person by Mr. Zachary.
I'm clapping.
Dorman, yeah, bring him in. You're getting some applause there. Oh, Zach, we're talking about food that is a weird combo that your parents might have done. Like my family, we grew up, we had
family
tacos.
members,
Tacos and
other
applesauce.
households.
I heard about it. Yeah.
What is the weirdest combo or something that you realized as an adult that not everybody does and your family loves doing? Anything strange out of the woodwork?
I mean, I grew up eating all kinds of wild game.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got smoked pheasant in the refrigerator right now.
Just the protein you consume on a winterly basis, especially. But then you save some for the rest of the year.
Deer, bear, woodcocks, pheasants, squirrels, rabbits.
Would you say woodcocks taste more woody or more cocky?
Woodcock is really like a dark meat chicken.
So woody.
It is very dark.
Very
Is it a
woody.
mix of in between duck and chicken? Would you say
Oh,
like
it's not
that?
greasy at all.
It's not
Okay,
greasy.
so
It's,
not
like,
like
it's just
greasy.
like
It's
dark
not
meat
greasy.
chicken.
That's not like a cock at all. They need to just drop the cock part of that 100%.
A non-greasy dark meat is weird, though. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because, you get the turkey, the dark meat's the best part because it's greasy and moist.
Yeah.
I guess that's the
I
same
mean, it's
as
moist, but I wouldn't say not like duck is.
Not duck
It's
like
more,
that.
more turkey and chicken-ish
Fair
than
enough.
duck.
All
It's
right.
very
It's not
small.
as
A
gamey.
woodcock breast is...
yeah.
Any
You gotta
weird,
shoot a
any
lot of
weird
woodcocks.
sides that your parents would make or that you've made that you just go, this is my
I
go-to?
think somebody told me this was weird the other day. You know how you make broccoli and cheese?
Yeah. Like broccoli
My
cheese
mom
casserole.
sometimes she does cauliflower and cheese. And somebody
Yeah,
was
my
like,
mom would do that.
That's gross.
No, I've
It's like,
seen
I was
that.
like,
Now-
you could take anything that has broccoli, pretty much, and make it with cauliflower.
Yeah.
And my mom could just interchange broccoli and
It
cauliflower,
makes
no
sense.
problem.
Literally, besides
That was interesting. I thought
color,
you were gonna
they're
go
kinda
with you could
close.
put cheese on anything because
Yeah.
like you could put cheese on anything.
Oh, I have a full blown cheese addiction.
Yes. Speaking of, Zach is turning 30 this weekend,
Yes.
so he's joining us
Oh.
in the just as Justin's about to leave the 30s. Zach is stepping on
Yeah,
in.
I'm holding on
And
to
we're
it for a
having
little bit longer.
a little gathering at your brother's, and it's
Yeah.
a 30 cheese party for 30.
Yeah, cheese party.
Oh,
cheese,
that's awesome.
Cheeses, 2 meats, and beer.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good
We're
one.
gonna have, I think, somebody
Diarrhea?
is making sausage and peppers.
Okay.
Lindsay's dad is bringing a bunch of, I don't know, some sort of Italian meats.
Yeah.
We got some cappy, some.
I might whip up some fondue. I might harken back to my old fondue serving days, and I might mix something up like that.
Oh, yeah.
But the cheese is going to be the spotlight there, but there's going to be beer. You're going to be consuming beer because that is, it's something you like to do, and it's something we like to do. And we've got a doozy tonight for
We do.
our taste test. So, Justin, let's hit it. What are we drinking?
We drink it so you don't have to. Reviewing in the morning from the bathroom. Cheap booze and craft brews. Reviewing in the morning from the bathroom. What do we drink it? What do we drink it? Yeah!
All right, what are we drinking now? We've been going back to some of our classic beers, some beers that we've had plenty of times in the past, and we've been ranking them because now we are doing a ranking of 0 to 100 of all of our beers. Right now, I just like to point out that the ranking, we've got Miller Lite, Bud Light sitting right at 68. So 68 seems to be our median. The lowest we have is 21, which is that weird, shitty tea bourbon concoction we got from the liquor store a few weeks ago.
Yep.
That's in last place. And then number one overall is the one that we did last week, Costumes in Karaoke from
Yes.
Dogfish Head. And that's at an 81. So we've got a 60 point, and that's kind of smack dab in the middle. Just giving you a little bit of scope of what we're working with so far this season. So we had to bring back a standard, a classic. If you are from Northeast Pennsylvania, we've got the traditional Lion's Head Deluxe Pilsner beer. And we bought this, and after we bought this, I realized my
We didn't
roommate
buy
and
this.
I bought it. My roommate and I threw
He stole it.
a very poorly attended Halloween party on Friday, and he decided to get a whole keg of Lion's Head. So I bought Lion's Head tonight, knowing I have a full keg of it at my house to go home and
It's a good
slowly
warm up.
drink.
It's a good warm up
Now,
to finish off the
Lion's
keg.
Head used to, if you got the bottles, had the games on the bottom, and that was the main reason that most of us enjoyed drinking it. Also, it was about $8 a case.
Yeah.
For a 24-pack of cans now, it's gone up to $14, but that is still dirt fucking cheap.
Also, this sort of tastes different.
Tastes different. Now,
Yeah.
this is what I think will be kind of easy for the three of us to rank on a scale of 0 to 100. So while we're thinking about what our ranking is going to be, Eric, you're drinking some beer this evening. What are you sipping on?
I'm drinking the original Silver Bullet,
Ooh,
Coors Light.
Coors
I got the
Light.
Blue Mountains, as you can
all
see.
right.
They're
you gotta
blue.
make sure they're blue.
They're
If
blue.
If it's not blue, you can start actually tasting the beer,
Yeah.
and then it gets bad. You don't want
This
that.
this one's been out a little bit,
a
but
little bit.
we talked briefly before we started here, and I'm not a Miller Lite fan, but I am completely happy that these light pilsners are getting their due.
Hey, man.
True.
Someone was trying to sell me on it one time because like I used to drink the Coors Originals, the banquet beers, and I
Little
love them. I
stubby.
still will.
Gotta love a little stubby.
Yep.
But then, like, you know, I was living with my mom a few months back, and it was during the summer. I was doing yard work, trying to help out, and sometimes you need to drink all day.
Yep.
And so I was like, you know what, Coors Light.
Yep.
Coors Light's cool.
It's a great
Sometimes
all-day
you
beer.
need to
It
drink your life away.
Yeah.
Like my grandfather. Coors
Coors
Light.
Light.
Coors Light.
Coors
All
Light
day,
is the way
every day.
to do it. All right. So, what would you give Coors Light? It's your go-to for right now. What is on a scale of 0 to 100? Because we've not ranked that
We
yet.
haven't.
We haven't. So when
We'll
we
have to
do,
add it in.
I'll add your ranking for Coors Light in. So what do you give it on a scale of 0 to 100 before we attack Lion's Head?
man, this is tough, and I know it tastes like water, and I know it's not real beer. And when it's warm, it's terrible.
But you're ranking it for what it is. It's a light American light beer. So on a scale of 0 to 100 for being what it is, how good of a job do they do?
I'm saying 89.5 to 90. I think it does what it does really well.
That is good. We're all gonna have to rank Coors at like a 10 just to even that one out. But I'm gonna honor it. We're gonna keep it in. Now we've got the Lion's Head here. Again, it's a deluxe Pilsner
like a
beer.
Sweet vanilla going on in the
There's
can?
something different.
It definitely tastes different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a.
There is something almost spice level in there. There is like something sweeter that I do not remember. Maybe this,
but it tastes great.
It tastes really good.
Yeah.
This is way better than I feel like it
it's lighter than it used to be.
Yep. It doesn't taste like bad lager. It used to just taste like bad Yingling to me. This actually tastes, I don't know, I'm not going to say it tastes better than Hamm's, but like my memory of what Hamm's tastes like and sipping this right now,
it's a lighter beer at this point.
It's a much lighter beer.
This is great right now.
This is amazing. I wish it was really hot out because it would be 10 times better.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just open it up. I'm gonna give it a 77. I'm gonna give this guy a 77. I really like it. There is something different and new going on here. Justin, what do you think?
78.
78.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're gonna be breaking records on this
I
one.
wasn't going that high.
Oh,
I was gonna say best head in town.
Yeah.
69.
69. Now, our buddy Dom Triboli, who again, another person we were speaking about before we went live, we used to call him Skateboard Kid back in the day. He's been on our show plenty of times talking about his tattoo work. He once said that he was going to get the Lion's Head logo tattooed on him with a banner around it that just said PA all day. And now he said he would never, ever, ever allow anybody to get that tattooed on them.
Why not?
Ever. I don't know, but
That's a great idea.
I hope somebody does
I might
it.
push him to do it on me at some point after we go and get our first round of tattoos.
I already have a lion tattoo. It's pretty close.
Yours is more Mufasa falling than anything. So Lion's Head, there we go. In the books, we've got our rankings. Now, the big guns that we're breaking out tonight. And I'm going to say, I called this. I called that this was going to happen last summer. Hard seltzers were making a huge run. Everybody was making them. And I said in about a year to a year and a half or so, you're going to be able to buy a giant 25-ounce can of 12. I said 15%, but this is 12%. This is the Four Loko with the hint of black cherry.
This is
hard
bad idea.
seltzer.
Do you think that this is going to be good at all?
No, I don't think. Four Loko is over flavored, and that is
okay. Now this
the sweetness.
This is still a malt.
Oh, it's still a malt beverage. It is like lying its ass off with this. Let's.
It smells like Play-Doh.
It's just going to try to taste less intense, but it's still going to be just as bad.
Why does it smell like Play-Doh? It smells like a. Oh, that's
so wait, what flavor are you guys drinking? I put that in
black
quotes.
Cherry. It's with a hint of
A
black
hint
cherry.
of black cherry.
Just so you know,
With a hint of
contains
Play-Doh.
alcohol. Yeah, with a hint of black cherry and childhood dreams. Let's. Oh, they took all the flavor away. You're just left with the alcohol.
That's just
It's
as bad
very.
as any-
Hold on. This is very sweet, and then that
but then it
alcohol flavor at
disappears
the end is
immediately.
fucking bad.
Is there something vanilla in this one too? Because I
Probably.
am tasting vanilla. Are we just vanilla
I think it was the
out?
vanilla chapstick I had on that before we all had.
Oh, we were making
Making
out?
out with
Yeah.
each other.
Oh, that makes sense. God, I am getting something. Oh, this is going to be way better 5 sips in.
Oh my god.
Because the second
This
sip
is
wasn't
bad,
nearly
dude.
that bad. I'm going to go for a nice big one, see how it hits me, and then let's get to ranking this piece of shit right here.
My
I
Coors
don't
Light
even
is
know
still
if I want
89 and a
another-
half over here.
I don't know if I still want another sip of this.
Oh, all right, it gets worse and better.
Tastes like a
at the same
hangover,
time.
right?
Yeah, no, that is a hangover in a can waiting to happen.
They should not. That should not be sold.
No, I'm going to
Do not
suggest to
buy
my
that.
boss that we get
Please
that for
don't
the
buy
bar
that.
and just let people go buck wild on it.
No, nothing. nothing sold in a can should be sold in a can this large.
Yeah.
Natty Daddy should be. Natty Daddy's in a can that big. It makes you really chug that 8%er. But this is 12%. Can you imagine how bad it's going to be by the time it gets warm? And there's just... Because the first time I ever had
I don't
want
to drink anymore.
Was hot for Loko on accident. It was in a water bottle identical to the water bottle that had water in it. We were at the beach. It sat in the sun all day. I went and grabbed what I thought was the water bottle, chugged like 3 big gulps worth of water, and it wasn't, and it was watermelon. It tasted like potpourri and like watermelon extract. Fucking just like shoved it into my mouth with grain alcohol.
Was that with the caffeine?
That was the OG, the first one.
When night they took that off the shelves.
Oh, you guys bought... You stockpiled
250 cans of
What?
Loko.
Wow.
It's the best.
That was the worst. Because
Yeah.
we just had a pile of Four Loko.
You said you were just giving them away to people, right? You just show up at parties with a backpack
well, we
full
would
of
bring,
Four
yeah,
Loko.
we would bring them to parties.
And this is in L.A., right?
Yeah, when I lived in LA. But you couldn't, and I was also like 19.
Yeah.
So I was
Doesn't
drinking
get
them,
better,
but
no.
It was just the worst thing. We were skateboarding in the house and kicked one of them.
Yeah.
And then there was one can of Four Loko deep in the pile that was leaking for weeks. So when we finally got to the bottom of the pile, it was just
It didn't erode the floor away. It didn't eat away at the
We used
floor
to
like a
do, like,
sci-fi movie.
chug a whole one
Xenomorph's
as
blood
fast
or
as
something.
you could. I remember doing a whole one in 30 seconds.
No, it's not good. It's not out of the can, or did you put it into something
No,
else?
out of the can.
Oh,
Warm.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not a good way. All right,
Yeah,
so
that
what
stuff kind of
giving?
tastes like if you took a Coca-Cola, an orange soda, and then threw a 9-volt battery in.
Yes.
So, like,
That's
I could just imagine it
Yeah,
would be.
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna open this for a hard seltzer. For a hard seltzer that is 12% alcohol. So drinking one sip of this is like drinking 2.5 sips of a White Claw. I'm gonna give it a 19. I'm going with a 19 on this one. I already have a headache. Is that possible to already have a headache from it?
Yep.
Oh,
I'm going with a 4.
a 4. All right, solidifying this place at the top of the line. Zach,
12.
12.
12%, give it 12.
Well, welcome to last place. Four Loko hard seltzer with a hint of black cherry. Avoid it. Avoid it as best as possible.
Oh, please
if
do.
You
This is
can.
the, like, man, I love the seltzers. I love the White Claws, all of them. This is not
the jumping the
seltzer.
shark
And it's
moment
not
for
light.
seltzer.
It's
No.
not
This
what a
is the jumping-
seltzer is trying to be.
No,
It
and
shouldn't be-
just tastes all like alcohol.
You know what the initial taste tastes like when you get the fake seltzer waters,
Yeah.
like the sweetened seltzers. That's what the initial flavor is, and then you just get malt liquor.
This is premium malt beverage with natural and artificial flavors and sucralose.
Oh,
there you go.
There you
Ooh,
go.
that's the problem.
That's the way they're getting you.
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus
Never
Christ,
trust
that is
sucralose.
fucking bad. All right, well, let's spin this all around and go from something bad to something great. Tonight, we have a featured artist, as we always do. We are going to be playing from Detroit, Michigan, Deante Malik. He is a rapper, hip-hop artist. Big ups to Detroit. The single that you're going to be listening to and seeing the music video for is called Stuck in My Head. And if you like what you hear, you can find him on Instagram at Deante Malik _97 or on Snapchat and Twitter at Deante Malik or just Deante Malik. Yeah, that's how you find him. His name, DeanteMalik. I found this guy via Instagram. He liked one of our posts a couple of months back. And this is a softer song. This is a sweeter song of his. But he does have some really awesome, more brutal rap style shit. So if you like what you hear, again, go check him out. Deante Malik _97 on Instagram. Here is I think is a great single. Stuck in My Head. Enjoy. We'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.
Yep.
I don't know what's up with you. I wanna resolve all our issues. Why? Cause every time I start to miss you, I'm stuck in my head, stuck in my head. I don't know what's up with you. I wanna resolve all our issues. Why? Cause every time I start to miss you, I'm stuck in my head, stuck in my head. getting lost in my head. Asking God, am I dead? Wanna know right from wrong, but demons try to get in. So I put time into this, and I put time into that. I'm running away from all my fears to watch a screen to distract. I look around at all my peers to find the way I should act. I smoke this green because it helps me with the questions I ask. I smoke this green because it helps me with depression. I laugh at these confessions that I had because it's all in my past. I'm not drowning in myself. You're astounding, but self needed my help. I'm not doubting the ways I felt, because I'm grounded, and still I need your help. I don't know what's up with you. I wanna resolve all our issues. Why? Cause every time I start to miss you, I'm stuck in my head, stuck in my head. I don't know what's up with you. I wanna resolve all our issues. Why? Cause every time I start to miss you, I'm stuck in my head, stuck in my head. But now I'm up, I'm wide awake. I know exactly what I want, I know my fate. I wanna spend my life with you, our second date. Show that we were soulmates, always real, no role play. Way before the foreplay. Had conversations all day. Our friends was hating always, but lack of patience calmed me. I was running to you, just like I am right at the moment. Girl, I'm coming to you, but now you treat me like opponent. But if you really feel like he has something that you wanted, you can have him. I just wanna let you know you're my component. I don't know what's up with you. I wanna resolve all our issues. Why? Cause every time I start to miss you, I'm stuck in my head, stuck in my head. I don't know what's up with you. I wanna resolve all our issues. Why? Cause every time I start to miss you, I'm stuck in my head, stuck in my head.
There's some real J. Cole vibes.
Yeah, you're throwing that out there. Like I said, that album that you can find it online on YouTube, anywhere you're getting music. He's got so much depth to him, because that song, that's the first, when I messaged him, that was immediately what he sent over. I know he had just put it out, so he's definitely pushing it. But I talked to him again today, like, is this still what we want to go with? He's had a couple other singles drop, and he still wanted to go with that. And it is a very varied album. It is an eclectic sound. That is just a
Is it hip hop for hip hop people?
Yeah, I think it's hip hop for hip hop.
I think
masses.
so.
It's not.
It's not. It's hip hop for hip hop fans, and I fucking love it. Representing again from Detroit. Big up to Detroit, Michigan. Oops. Again, that is Stuck in My Head from Deante Malik at Deante Malik _97, or find him Snapchat, Twitter, Deante Malik. We were supposed to originally have a single from Frank Mighty's Hotline, and I was going to do a week-to-week backup. Have one from Detroit and then one from Toronto. So hopefully we'll get Frank next week, and we'll get him on here, but there was a little bit of a miscommunication there. So big ups to Frank Mighty. We'll see you shortly. I think he is going to write a song to premiere on here, the way he was speaking to me.
That's the way it sounded.
That's
like
the way he was like,
about
I'll get working on something. And I'm like, fuck yeah, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
We write
That's
weird
cool.
music, and it's just, I just like new music from any avenue we can get it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And hopefully you guys are going to enjoy Zach coughing for the next 5 minutes.
It's not COVID.
It's not COVID. It's phlegmy. It's not COVID.
I was cutting fields today, about 8 foot tall.
Ooh.
8 foot tall
8 foot tall fields I was cutting on the mower.
Jesus.
God damn, dude.
How did they get
All
that tall?
wildflowers.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
You got to cut them once a year so that every year they come back.
Yeah.
As beautiful wildflowers, not a viney mess of garbage.
Gotcha.
So it's like the first week of November is always cutting these fucking horrible fields.
All right. So while you've been cutting these horrible fields, what have you been listening to, and how did it lend a hand to our Brunch Weekly Original Single this week? As I said earlier, this is a very short project for us this week, shorter than normal, but 2.5 to 2 hours and 45 minutes actually spent on the song itself. Right. What were you listening to this week? Did you pull from anything specifically in writing this song that's new, or something that's old, or something that's blue? I got wedding on the brain.
I feel like in the last few days, maybe the last week, I've been listening to a lot of Arcade Fire again.
Okay.
Right.
I just love. That's one of my favorite bands.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Win was on Broken Record podcast. I don't know if you've heard that. That's the one with what's his face, Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin, yeah.
Win Butler was on Rick Rubin.
Good podcast. Definitely check it out. He's
wow, I
great.
didn't even know. Yeah.
I don't know, last week, the day that my grandfather died, I just listened to Funeral by Arcade Fire because it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I listened to Neon Bible the other night. That's one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
Sans the last album, which is produced by the dude from Daft Punk.
Really?
But I think I just missed it.
I've only
I
listened
love
to it
that
one
band.
time.
I don't think
love-
I've heard anything
I think-
off of that.
I do
What?
have it
Sure.
on vinyl.
Yeah, I bought it on vinyl, and I think what killed me...
I own it on vinyl. It's on that shelf, and it won't be played.
When they put it out on vinyl, it didn't come with a download card.
That's annoying. That is an annoying thing.
Like, I get it, but like... And it was
today's
before
day
I
and
had
age.
Apple Music.
Nah, if I'm buying a record, I want a download card in there.
Well,
It's not an old record.
Especially if it's a new reprint.
Yes.
If it's an original, obviously. That's
Yeah.
1970s fucking original
Where's my
person.
download card? I want to listen to Emerson, Lake and
But-
Palmer while I'm mowing.
It's like, when I... if I really, really love something, I come home and put it on the record player.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like... I gotta figure out if I fucking love this album or not.
Right.
Let me play it in my car. Let me play it on my headphones.
Yeah.
You know, it's not conducive to bring my record player to fucking work.
Right.
Why not? Is it because the mower's too shaky?
Which I did do. I bought one of those portable dudes, and I brought it when I had a desk job. I did bring the record player, which was a double-edged sword because it's cool, right?
Yeah.
But then it's cool, and so everybody would be like, "Oh, what are you playing?" And I'm like, "I don't want to talk to you."
What are you listening to?
And it's either like, and then I'm like being judged all day, and then I only had one other coworker in the office, but of course, and thankfully she's was wonderful, but like. No, like what am I gonna play? I'm gonna play what I want, but then if they don't like it, so it worked out, except for people would.
Would
ask
you get like
questions.
one
But
of those
anyway.
little suitcase Crosleys that you can just bring
No,
anywhere?
and I've heard bad things.
They're
So I
bad.
haven't gone
Crosleys
to
are
Crosleys.
bad.
They're not. You can't adjust the weight on the toner arm, so you can. If it's
I had to
not
tape
set up
them.
correctly, you destroy a record.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Is this true? This is the rumor I've heard for
Yes,
years.
no,
I
it is
haven't-
100% true.
I had one suitcase. First, the speakers go really easily, and then dissecting a fucking suitcase to. I don't know anything about tech, so for me to dissect a suitcase and find a wire frayed or something pulled apart in there, I'm like, well, I've probably broken it worse than it was before just by trying to find where the problem is.
Right.
But the weight of the arm not being adjustable,
It's
really
very
are just
cheaply made.
like throw a record on that you don't like. So that's what I did. Not that I didn't like, but a record that was already kind of scratched up. I think it was an old like Crosby, Stills, Nash that I had like
Crosby, yeah.
just like 50 copies. Probably not. It was probably like Cosmic Factory or something like that. And I had a bunch of copies. I put it on, and you saw as it played. It wasn't like dust being cleaned up. You know, sometimes you have a dusty record and it just slowly cleans the record for you as it's playing, which is probably not good for it.
You just got to pull it off the needle.
Yeah, you just got to pull off the needle. But it was literally, you just saw going through, and I'm like, okay, well, I just wait. So I went, that one I took back to fucking Target. But then stupidly just went like, can I get another one? And the next one was fine.
Right.
So it worked. But it's totally 100% hit or
yeah,
miss.
The preamps suck too, man.
Yeah, there's nothing good about them.
If you can't find a decent vintage
Yeah.
unit, even from the late 80s, early 90s.
You can
they
find
still
good
make
record players for $40 used.
If you're
You
a
can.
person who needs to have something brand new, just go buy U-turn.
Yeah.
Buy U-turn.
Totally.
Or find some sort of vintage
quality
from
used
the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, I went out and got a DJ's turntable because I was like, this is
like
meant,
the Newmark.
Yeah, the Newmarks that are. It's meant to have a shitload of use put into it, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Newmark
put
is
that.
a tank,
So
dude.
hopefully, me not doing and all that weird shit with it. It's just me playing the fucking Moody Blues or whatever Genesis I'm listening to that day. And it's just me not fucking with it. That thing's gonna. It's a tank, like you said. It's gonna last for forever, and it's a proper arm that can be adjusted, and it's right. But,
I mean, honestly, if you're gonna get into the record collecting and listening, I just recommend finding something from the 80s that's tried and true.
Yep.
That's direct
Yeah,
drive.
this is a Technic.
I love
If you don't have to worry about dropping the needle onto the correct spot. It does it for you.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
the
you
one
can
thing that
ease
mine
yourself
doesn't do
into.
that I wish it did. Yeah.
And you can ease yourself into actually loading.
That's the
and not
wild
fucking things
shit
up.
with brand new cassette decks and brand new record players. They've taken all the features out. They're bare bones.
Very bare bones.
If you get a sick cassette deck from like the 80s, like that belongs in a stack. It's got all the features. It's got noise
Probably
reduction.
EQs built in.
It automatically
dials.
knows what kind of tape, whether you got metal tape or fucking.
Some of them play
regular
both
tape.
sides when it gets to the end too.
Yeah.
Auto reverse, it's crazy.
There was only one modern tape mechanism. And with record players too. In the 70s and 80s, you got all the fucking features because people still wanted it. Now, you know, a U-turn is pretty good, but all it does is play that one side.
Well, it has to play that record, but also with the U-turns is if you want to change it to 33, you have to manually adjust the belt and drop it
take
down
that
to
belt
another
up.
gear.
See, I've never fucked around with
You know what I
any of
mean?
that.
Like,
Okay.
it's
Which they're
not
doing
like
'cause
you
it's
press a
hip,
button.
but-
You know, and there are modern record players that will do that automatically for you, but you're paying so much for some of that
I
shit.
had our buddy Preston had given me an old Fisher, you know, like tape deck bass, you know, just the big
Fisher,
fake
that is
wooden panel.
what is company? Fisher was the American version of something
Sylvania.
from Japan.
I don't know.
Probably.
I had that in
Japanese.
I got
I'm
it
sure.
really old and already beaten to shit. And it wound up, I got about a year out of it before it all kind of fell to shit. But it did work so well. And it had an EQ right there built in.
I mean,
I
this
had
stack
all
I
of
got
this
from Fred,
accessories
dude.
that I didn't need because it took care of all of it in one situation. And you go buy a new record player, it's not really, you're not getting many options there. You got to build
the other
whole
thing too
set.
is most modern receivers you have to get with phono preamps.
Yeah.
So even if you're getting a setup with the U-turn, you still have to figure out a preamp. So do you get bookshelf speakers and an adapter for your preamp so that it'll actually convert the sound?
Yeah.
Or power
or you trust
enough
their
for the
built-in
sound?
they have the built-in one. Do you trust theirs, or do you spend?
Exactly.
Yeah, I
You
can
get a tube
definitely
one for whatever
lean
reason?
More towards the do as much individual pieces. I know more moving parts and more little pieces leads to more problems down the line. But I'd rather be able to I'm going to replace my EQ mixer
Instead of your whole
replace
unit.
the entire setup. I'll
That's why I'm
replace
like-
the speaker as opposed to I have. Like, I know a lot of people get the one that's a CD player, a tape deck, and a radio, and all of that. And most of those are the Crosley ones.
Sure.
And, again, not the best quality. They look cool. They make them look like the fucking front end of, like, a 57 Chevy. But, like, it doesn't really... it's not good for your records.
At the end of the day, a record is an experience. So,
Yep.
like, having a stack like this, you know, which I got lucky on. One of our maintenance dudes at Jock and Jill's came up to me one day. He's like, took this out of my mom's house. Do you want it? And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's a great way to get a record
But
setup.
realistically, if you're going to get into records, do yourself a favor. You don't have to fucking break the bank.
No.
But get a nice setup where it's going to
Facebook
sound good.
Marketplace, find it.
Something that you can sit down and listen to because it is an experience.
I feel the other big thing is modern speakers these days. Everyone's like, "Well, I have a soundbar. It sounds great." Be like,
yeah, it's sort of
I will
cheating,
take
dude.
the fucking Clarions in the living room here. The 3-way Clarions, which are monster, fucking,
And they're from like the
huge,
80s, dude.
Yeah.
with a fucking big ass sub, and I will fucking eat your soundbar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
for sure.
Sound is a fucking wave.
Yes.
It's a wave, and it moves through. And in order to create that wave, you need to push air, especially if you want shit like bass.
Yeah.
You need to push like that wave out through the air. That's how the sound reaches your ear. That's why the fucking tiny little speaker on your fucking phone sounds like garbage.
Yeah.
Now, it's gotten way better. A phone speaker right now
versus
is a billion times
iPhone
better than it
3
was
or 4
10
or
years
whatever.
ago.
For sure.
But when you compare it to a full-on stack from the 70s or 80s...
It's the same thing that happens when people listen to our show and they tell me, oh, I was listening to that song and it didn't really sound... I'm like, were you listening to it on your phone? Because I listen to it on my phone.
Sure.
And they sound good. But earlier, before we kind of figured exactly how we do everything as good as we can do it now, people be like, it doesn't sound that great. And I'm like my brother Keith, and I'm like, put headphones on or just plug in through like some like actual like dual speaker setup that you have. And he went back and listened to songs that we had done like 6 months earlier, and he goes, oh shit, I thought this sounded like shit because I was listening to it on my phone. And I'm like, no, this is the way you should be listening to it.
Well, that's the problem
speakers.
is a lot of modern, especially pop music, is mixed and mastered.
Yeah. For what it's going to be played on.
Yeah, totally.
Be played on those little tiny speakers on your phone.
Yep.
It's the
and
reason
to give you guys
we still have record players to listen to the records, because that's what it was mixed and mastered to be played on.
Yeah.
Old movies were meant to be played on projectors, so that's why if you have a projector, if you have an old 6mm movie or an 8mm movie, and then you go and you watch the digitalized version of it now, it's gonna look better on your projector because that's what it was intended
unless
to be.
you cut down the actual native resolution to like 4:3 or whatever the fuck it might be.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say, Eric?
About it.
Some forgiveness too for the podcast listening. So something to realize too, like we put the podcast, because I'm the Moot.tv guy, so
Yes,
I'm going to
you
interject
are,
here
yes.
for a second. We take the MP3 at whatever level that it's given to us, usually 128 or higher K, and we put it on our Amazon server, not to give them any props, but that's what we do. Yeah. And so it it is what it is, and the AWS is solid, and it makes sure that our stuff never goes away.
True.
But then, depending on what you're listening through, so if you're listening through Spotify or Stitcher specifically, which I love them both and I hate them both, they both use a compressed version even further. They take our MP3 and compress it even further. So if you're trying to listen to the Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up music, go to YouTube, make sure that you're on the highest HD quality. That's probably the best that you're going to do, and listen to it on good speakers.
You upload a WAV file, right?
Yeah, I upload from a
I
WAV.
bounce a WAV
I
bounce it out of my computer to you.
Well, here's the thing. Until we get the music on the website where people can actually go and listen to that file, basically what I'm doing is I'm taking that WAV, which is the raw audio file, putting it into a video, which is then compressing down so that YouTube can then compress that down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
either way, you're getting a loss.
It's using MP3 sound.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
So I mean,
MPEG,
it's going to get it way more clear than just listening to it on the podcast, but you're still getting compression and loss in there.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, I'm really glad that Eric is the guest right now on the episode where we went off on a long nerd tangent about music.
Yes.
And said things that I don't understand 90% of. But let's get to the song for this week. We have our Brunch Weekly Original Single that is it's called Taking a Break. Again, Zach got home from work a little bit late. We had to kind of throw something together. We went 4 on the floor. Was it like 3-part blues?
Gundam style.
Yeah. So
nice.
you go from Gundam style. You wanted something dancey, something fun. And I lyrically wanted to approach it from the way of, there's a lot of shit going on in the world right now, especially tonight. I think there's something big happening.
Maybe.
But we wanted to, I just kind of felt like everybody wants to take a break. Originally, this song was going to have a spoken word intro, but that we just decided to do without. That it was going to be super cheesy, but it was basically going to be like this song is for all the people who have been beaten, broken, and are ready for a break. Like something dumb like that. So that's what this song is for. We got a Jeffrey in the chat. Hello, Jeffrey.
What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man?
Now, Justin, we were trying to keep this pretty simple and to the point. We were restricted on time, but you got back there and worked on the drums. How was this project for you?
It was fun.
Yeah,
it was a good fun one.
Pretty fun, short, simple.
Yeah,
all around. I think we spent more time on vocals and trimming the fat of my lyrics than we did really working on drums. A couple of takes, probably. Correct me if I'm wrong, were pretty much just like, yep, straight through, one shot, you got it, cool, next one, and move.
Yeah, there were certain things, you know, like last week we had to go back after like I had warmed up, but also earlier today I did play for a little bit, retune the drums, and you know, one thing after going back. Going back and listening, you're right. Going back and listening to like fills and stuff like that, my toms just sounded dead. And like when I'm behind the kit, they sound good to me.
Yeah.
But I need to project that a little bit better, so I just sat down and spent a little bit of time and just got a sound that I like.
Oh, yeah. Now, a lot of the music is piano based on this one. You were playing the Yamaha DX7, throwing a bunch of shit in there. You were working on like some solos, but then you also went in and added guitar solos over top of it. Was there a reason you were going heavier on the keyboards this week? Was there something specifically? Do you think the dancey side of things that you want to do?
I think just naturally in what these songs for the podcast are for me to practice.
Sure.
For all of us to practice.
Yes,
but that's the main point of doing these songs is to just do them so we get better at
in
what
3 hours can we make something
and you know, since I got the real piano and then the nice synth, it's like I've been really trying to play keys.
Yeah, and incorporate that as much as possible.
So you know, I know music theory to a certain extent. And on guitar, you just shout a chord and I can play it. And I'm sort of almost there on the keys.
Yeah.
Right.
Where I can just be like, okay, it's a B minor 7.
Yeah.
And I know how to play that on keys now.
Right.
Yeah, you
so this was the first song, I think, that I was able to play the keys the way I did a guitar track.
Okay.
Just start the song and just...
Hell yeah.
Obviously, there's edits and whatnot and multiple takes, but being able to like play through a whole song, do all the parts on the keys.
Fuck yeah. Now, what time did we come in at on this
3:54.
Oh, beautiful. We're writing a pop song here. Yeah. We are really quickly separating ourselves from 2 weeks ago. Last week was a good separation from the Jane Fonda. This week is even further separation.
I've listened to last week's song a lot.
Oh, that last week's song is... Again, we wrote a beautifully haunting, just epic song, and I really liked it. But I'm hoping this week lives up to what we did last week. So let's jump right into it. Our Brunch Weekly Original Single for Season 5, Episode 8. Here it is, Taking a Break. We'll see you guys in just about 4 minutes.
Yep.
Enjoy. World, it don't seem right. We all need to breathe. Take some time, slow it all down, let it ride. I'm checking out, tuning out the news. I'm taking a break. Maybe you should too. I'm checking out. Like 10, see where it goes. I'm done getting caught, hooked on the show. Take myself out till it all blows. I'm checking out, tuning out the news. I'm taking a break. Maybe you should too. I'm checking
sitting this out. Ain't gone too far, just need some space from the tension and terror. From the tension and terror. From the human race. From the tension and terror.
Well, there you have it, guys. That is the Brunch Weekly Original Single, taking a break. Again, that'll be dropped sometime the next week or so, as we like to drop all of our Brunch Weekly Original Singles. We just did a massive drop in the last couple of weeks of episodes worth of music, and we are almost there on the lyric video for our single Bedroom Rodeo.
It's a good one. I showed you.
Yeah, it's really. It's going to be worth the wait. That's going to be fucking awesome. Neon lights and... It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be amazing. Oh well, now we are joined. I mean, we've been joined. I always do this. We've been joined. He's been here the entire time. But now we are turning our focuses over to Mr. EJ 5000, our super producer, Eric EJ DeKoski. Eric, I have known you since I was 14, I believe. I was a freshman in high school. I met you and the other Lamayak guys. I had known Greg a little bit, but I met you and Anthony probably the same day, probably in the same moment in chorus. And I had the luxury of having an older sister who you guys were already friends with, and I very quickly was just taken in under the wing of you guys. I thoroughly enjoyed all the shenanigans and stupidity that we got into back in the day. But the one thing that I learned from you was definitely, we're hiding you.
Push that down.
Right,
come on, Anthony. Taking my fame here. It's still just like our podcast.
One thing that I always thoroughly enjoyed, and welcome Anthony in the chat here. We're going to throw that in the middle so we can get a little bit better. There we go. Now you're good. Now there we go. I learned most of my music knowledge was expanded. It didn't start with you guys, but it was expanded by you guys being a huge part of my 14, 15, 16-year-old life. You were, I'll say it if the others won't, you were the driving force behind Straight and Upright, the band from our high school. We didn't have many bands at that time in our school. You guys
were going to North, right?
Yeah,
North was open
they were
at this
the
point.
North band.
Yeah, we went south 2 years, Anthony and I, and then we went north 2 years.
Yeah.
So we got the both experience, but
real
not
quick,
that matters.
How old were you when right around the time I had first met you?
Ooh, oh yeah, because that's the other thing is the two of you go back.
Yeah,
years
kindergarten or first grade, man. I remember we were on the same bus real young.
Yeah,
because I mean, I was on the corner. I was Bear Road on the corner.
Yeah, because I'm older than you, correct? Yeah, because if you went
by
to North,
a year or two, I graduated in 2002.
Okay, so 99. Yeah, okay.
So you're a few years. So you were just
202. You graduated year
202. 202. That was the year
202.
You're looking great for 1800 years old.
You're looking
Thank
amazing.
you. Yes.
You're looking real sexy.
Indeed.
There. So you were on the bus wondering who this 7'8" giant was with a full beard, because we've established Justin's just looked this way since he popped out.
No, man.
So definitely middle Smithfield year. So our elementary school. Yeah.
Okay.
And then so you again you guys were all a big helping hand into introducing me not only to music that I didn't know. You guys gave me Bloodhound Gang. You guys gave me
Greg introduced them to me for sure. So that's awesome.
That era. Goldfinger though is probably the band that a little bit of statickiness.
Yeah.
But
it just happens randomly.
Yeah, weird. But Goldfinger, I definitely remember being the band that you specifically. And I don't know if you got it, and I've always kind of been curious to ask, so I'll ask. If you got it from the Tony Hawk era of things, or if you found a way into it other than Tony Hawk. How did you find Goldfinger?
Guys, I did that so immediately. Like, no, it wasn't from Tony Hawk. Like, that's a bad way. Because that's still, whatever.
That game, bro.
My studded belt was here before yours, poser.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Amazing game, of course. And however you find music, let's not judge people how they find music. But,
find it.
But honestly, that CD, I just learned about punk because of Greg's brother, because I'm an only child.
Yeah.
Please don't hold it against me. So I didn't have any.
Too,
you can have some of my siblings.
So we didn't have I didn't have an older influence to get into music. My parents were into really great music, but there was no new music and there was no internet. So, so Greg's brother was into The Offspring.
Right.
And so then I went to Main Street Jukebox, and I just went through the punk section. There was this amazing CD. It was Goldfinger's Goldfinger, and it had laser cut text. So there was, a hologram for their text.
Oh, nice.
And there was a space chick, and she had big boobies. And I was like, I'm gonna. I'm judging that book by its cover, and then I just totally resonated with the music, and I'm still a Goldfinger fan, even though John Feldman, of course, is very opinionated nowadays, and I don't fault him for it.
And he gave us 30 seconds of summer, so I can fault him for that.
But I tend to now like in my older age music that's more interpretive, so that I can create my own meaning.
Yeah.
Where like now he's very literal with his meaning, and so but I got a chance to kind of meet him when I was in college. I went to one of the Asbury Park skate and surf festivals.
Oh, nice. Love those.
And I went with a buddy. We took a train up from the city right when we got there like kind of early, and I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. My buddy's like, okay, well there's bathrooms back there. I was like, nah, let's just go back this way. And I walked like I belonged, then I looked like a pop punk poser piece of shit or whatever.
You had the hair at that point, right?
Either I did or I had something similar to this nonsense going on.
He had a nice fro back in high school. It was pretty sweet.
But we walked right backstage. And then once we walked backstage, we were like, we should chill out here. And so I got to meet Andrew WK that night. I got to meet Max Weinberg from the Max Weinberg 7, and the now Slipknot drummer, because his son was there trying to see Goldfinger.
Oh.
And then I got to be on stage when Goldfinger played, which was totally awesome. And so I met John Feldman. I saw him, and I went up to him, and I was like, I'm going to work with you someday. And I shook his hand, and he was like, all right.
Fuck off, kid. All right.
I don't know what you're talking about. But it was, I think, Max Weinberg was the cooler meet from that night.
Yeah, we've accidentally on this show accused Max Weinberg of being a rapist when I said Max Weinberg instead of Harvey Weinstein for about 5 minutes, and then somebody went, I think you're saying the wrong name, and I went, oh no.
Max Weinberg was on the island with Epstein.
Yeah, he was there. You all know it. Conan was next to him, and Richter was sucking both of their dicks. Yeah, that is definitely what happened.
Who was Max Weinberg?
He's the drummer from the E Street Band.
Yeah,
that was
SNL.
Conan's drummer.
He was the band leader on Conan O'Brien for a long time.
Yeah, like all of the NBC years.
Into that.
Never a big Conan guy,
Or any late night.
You don't really like comedy the way I like comedy.
I don't really like funny stuff.
You don't.
It was different back then. It was like Jimmy Fallon got on, and everybody's like, he's funny, and he's funny if he's watching. Yes. But it's different. It's like nice now.
Literally, he can laugh at himself.
The only late night guy I can watch is Jimmy.
Jimmy's great. Kimmel's great. Wait, Kimmel or Fallon?
No, I hate Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, you hate Kimmel? Oh,
Jimmy Kimmel is such a fake fuck.
Did you like him on When Ben Signs Money?
He just, whatever is going on in the world,
he just jumps
that
on.
He just that it seems socially conscious. Jimmy Kimmel's just like, oh.
I mean, we
was it because of Sarah Silverman?
Well, I have no idea. That's just how I see it.
We went from
He's
girls
so
jumping
fake.
on trampolines to woke Jimmy.
No,
I do like to remind people about that because it's like
I grew up with the Man Show.
Man Show.
Like my dad watched the Man Show. I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Watching the Man Show. But there's just something.
Ziggy Zaggy.
But there's just something so
You're still drinking
plastic with
just finished it.
Jimmy Kimmel. Am I wrong?
I can see where you are
so
saying
manufactured.
that. I can also
Jimmy Fallon,
see.
I can look. Jimmy Fallon is funny enough that I can look past the manufacturedness of it.
But he's
Kimmel,
having fun.
He's
having
funny.
fun with himself. Jimmy Fallon. He is always, since his SNL days, he's the one that breaks character. He's the one that laughs. And he's doing that. It's because he's being entertained. So you can extrapolate from that he is getting more out of it than you are, and he doesn't care because he's having fun. Jimmy Kimmel definitely is pointed. You know, I can understand.
I don't like fun people. I'm fun, and you're all fun. And if we all hung out, we'd have fun, but we wouldn't have fun.
We wouldn't have that style of fun. I think Jimmy Kimmel is somebody who rose to fame as a certain type of character, got a big job, and he works for fucking Mickey Mouse. He's on ABC. Yep. So he's definitely it's curtailed what he can and cannot say and what he can and cannot do. So I think he was presented at some point, whether it was an obvious presentation or just he came to it on his own, of there is a way you can go from here, and he chose to go the way of LA, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
and LA is plastic and it is fake, so I can back you up on those things.
Yeah.
But he still entertains the fuck out of me. I still laugh at a lot of what he says, but then again, I'm a whore for comedy. If somebody is throwing 3 examples in, I laugh because you're abiding by the rule of 3s. I appreciate the construct of what you are doing probably more than what you are doing. I appreciate your schooling and your knowledge behind it probably more than the finished product really represents. So I can see that, but disagree at the same time.
I feel like if he didn't go that path, he would have just returned to like When Ben Signed Money.
Well, Pete.
And he would just be a fucking game show host for something.
Yeah. When Ben Signs Money, the first time anybody saw Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was there.
Yeah, he was pre Sarah Silverman. He was the guy before it became her, and then the two of them became the two of them, and then split.
Yeah, and pre Jesus Ben Stein too.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Because he released a documentary. Lest we not
R.I.P.
forget.
Ben Stein. Let's do that. So you again, to go back to you, Eric. You introduced me to a lot of music, but you also introduced me to the local scene here. And since I remember first time I ever went to Toast, which was an old venue here in East Stroudsburg, on Quaker Alley.
Sort of a setup for next week too.
And definitely, we got old school Walt coming on next week. Oh, I don't know if you remember Walt from back in the day, but he is old school hardcore Walt. He's gonna be our guest next week, so we're gonna talk a lot about the local scene. But I remember going to Toast on like a Tuesday evening, and it was probably you, me, Anthony, maybe Greg, my sister. She was dating Brian at the time, so probably that crew. And we went and we played like Life, or we played some board game and drank chai tea and we ate funnel cake, and it was just like the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then I remember being told, oh, this is a venue, and we were sitting where the stage was, and I went, oh, okay, cool. And then it was like, oh yeah, well, we're going to be playing here soon. So then first local show I ever went to, and the first 500 local shows I ever went to were Straight and Upright shows. That's where I met Mark Miller and crew for the first time with Maxwell Demon. It's where I met all the Split 50 guys, leading to our current broship with Steve-O. It's our broship. It's a relationship with bros.
Yeah.
But that, like, you helped kick me off down a path of enjoying local music and just music in general, because we did musical theater together. We would talk, I mean, literally anything from fucking Harry Belafonte to fucking I don't want to say Harry Styles because that's just in my head from Steve-O's comparison the other day. But anything, and it wouldn't have existed 20 years ago because he was one. But you helped me realize a lot, and the whole crew of guys, that like music is fun and music is good, and if it's something that you are into, it doesn't matter what it is. So we had a really fun open scene just with us and our crew, where it was like if you fell into something, I didn't ever really feel pressure to like one thing versus another. I never felt pressure to say something was cool when I didn't think it was cool. I felt pressure maybe to bring something to the table, and then that's what then set me down the path of find shit for myself. And after high school, and everybody goes their own ways, and that's what I did, and I just kind of kept down that path. And as much as you guys helped me with music, I will say that you helped me with, probably more so than music, you all helped me with comedy in life, not taking myself seriously, and learning alongside of not taking myself seriously how to take a joke, especially when it was aimed at like me on a personal level, because my first
like everything else you were saying. What'd I do?
But no. Actually, it's Anthony in the chat that's gonna get an attack right here. I think I've said it before. The first time I remember meeting Anthony, we were in the locker room. We were in a block scheduled high school. If you were in chorus, you were all together in the same gym class then, because they had to put you opposite your days in chorus. We would have gym class. We would all fail terribly at gym class, but succeed because we were at least the guys competing and not the girls with notes saying that they weren't competing. Right. And we played math ball and whatever else the fuck we did back then. And Anthony comes up to me about a month before my brother Kurt got married, and he was in, I'm pretty sure, in a t-shirt and underwear, or not, I think he had boxers on. But he comes up to me and he puts his leg up on the stool next to me as I'm getting ready, crotch right in my face, and goes, "So I'm playing piano at your brother's wedding." And I'm just like, okay. And at this point, I've just kind of kept quiet. I'm Kim's little brother. I haven't really done much. I haven't sprouted. I haven't become a personality. And he's just like, "Yeah, I'm thinking of wearing a tie to the wedding." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "Do you think I should wear a bow tie or a regular long tie?" And I went, "I don't know, man. Bow tie?" He goes, "Either way, I'm going to be wearing only a tie." And then just stared into my soul, and I'm just kind of like, "All right, you fucking weirdo." And then I just remember being very much so like, "You're not playing my brother's wedding. You're just fucking full of shit. You're just doing something here that is bizarre."
What he's doing?
And I don't know.
That's something
it's just
on
something
his
with
end.
our connection. Yeah, it's getting a little fuzzy here
Son
and there.
of a bitch.
You son
It's
of
on
a
my
bitch.
end?
Yeah, almost.
Something.
Yeah,
Something's a little
something's like
fuzzy once in a while.
Staticky.
Sorry.
We'll figure
Probably
it out.
moving or something.
Or we
Yeah.
won't. So you guys, I mean, just to kind of give everybody a basis of what I was growing up in, you guys were fun. You were ridiculous. You were raunchy. You introduced me to music, to comedy. You introduced me to things that I already liked, but acknowledged that they were cool. Things like the Monty Python era of comedy, early Saturday Night Live, 90s Saturday Night Live. We were all super fanboys about a lot of things.
Dead bird.
Yeah.
Dead bird, yeah. So I always have thought that I not necessarily owed a lot to you guys, but I could always look back at like who my forefathers in education of all of this shit were, and it comes from the two of you and other friends, you know, surrounding. But now that we are adults, I think is the word that they use to describe older people.
Yeah.
Adults.
Almost there.
Adults. We're adults.
Adults.
We are adults.
Adults.
We reconnected here with doing podcasts. And I remember we did the original run of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up about 6 months before you guys started the original run of Let Me Ask You a Question. You guys just celebrated not only your 200th episode, but I think next week is 4 years since the first episode of your show dropped.
That's awesome.
Which means you've only existed in a Trump presidency. which is
This
crazy thing
podcast
because it feels
has,
about
that's
10,000 years for both the presidency and your podcast.
Can I just say I'm glad we're not editing anymore?
Yeah, we're not editing anything. Yeah.
We still edit.
Hey, no, do whatever works for you.
Do what works for you. We're lazy. We don't edit. We take 4 years to slowly get to a point where it makes sense that we don't edit.
But props to you guys for writing an amazing song. And like, I got a nice to meet you, Zach. We've never actually I know the other two folks, but like.
Met.
Dude, the unspoken genius, like I'm so happy to hear praise, Kyle, and I'm gonna throw it back. But let's throw some praise to this guy, like every week.
He's a psycho genius.
Yeah.
He does.
I hope you like, because I know this is my segment. And I'm like happy to talk because I love to talk. But I have a zillion questions for you because one of the three music masterminds. There's three of you working in tandem, so I want just for the audience. Let's throw some props to Zach. Not golf claps, actual claps. This is There you go. Yeah, please, seriously.
I did fail to do that. I didn't introduce you properly at the beginning. I should have done that. But Zach,
I was busy.
That's Eric. He's the one that puts on our show.
Hi, Eric.
Eric, that's Zach. He's the one that makes our show listenable to for half of it, and then the other half of it. It's wherever that weird buzzy noise keeps happening.
You keep getting texts, my friend?
Yeah, maybe it's text messages. Who knows?
That what it is?
Maybe.
Might be. It very well could be.
I'll put my phone away. I don't think I'm getting any, but I'll put it away anyway.
But so aside from us sucking each other's dicks, which we
I totally appreciate that. I mean, it means a lot.
Dicks for as long as we possibly needed to.
Can we figure each other's buttholes too?
I mean, after we're done sucking each other's dicks, or a while.
Yeah, a while. Come on.
There's no reason to
69
separate. 69. Aside from all of that, though, you have built Moot.tv. You put out our show, the Derek D. Dozen. Let me ask you a question. And I always still throw White Wasabi in there, even though I realized about 6 months ago, White Wasabi has never put out an episode since we've been a show.
It's been a couple years. We still got 2 more episodes to do.
Oh,
but we're still. But yeah, so Moot.tv was basically like I've. Now that I get to talk, excuse me, and stop me if I'm sounding too douchey, because I'm a little douchey. But
douche it up.
So I went to school, as you said that you went and visited. You and Shortino visited me at art school. I went to school for graphic design, and so I learned how to do web stuff. But I went to school to do the Talking Heads thing. I wanted to be a musician, but I went to art school, and so I'll skip a bunch and we'll go straight to I was at Modern Drummer magazine. I was the digital media director there, so I got to work for this really great magazine where we started a podcast, and so I was the executive producer there. And now we'll fast forward a little bit more. I had lost that job. I was in between jobs or whatever, and I had some friends of friends, good friends of somebody really close, but they're going unnamed for on purpose.
Okay.
But they're just like everybody else, where they were like, I have this great idea, and I want to start a YouTube channel and a podcast network where we talk about video games and music. And I'm like, yeah, why would I do that for you? Like, why don't I just do that? And so finally, and this is before, let me ask you a question, we started White Wasabi, because it was one of my previous roommates is Sensei Match, and then the Grega Man, who's been a great friend of mine for just as long. I met Greg in 1989, so I've known him for a long ass time.
He was fucking 4.
Greg is Mike's younger brother, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, and he was the first person whenever we moved up to Pocono Mountain Lake Estates.
I was but a twinkle in my father's eye at 89.
So yeah, I met him and Amory Aponte at the same time, who famously, if anybody's interested, can look up. I think it's Muscle Cam on YouTube, and she's sporting. She's another famous person from our high school.
I remember when she was like super young, man. Yeah. Like I used to go and hang out. Well, Evan played basketball with me.
She is strong. Yeah.
She got these big muscles.
Girl?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's a great video. I don't think it's Kiss Cam. I think it's Muscle Cam, and I guess was it Philly? So if you look up like Muscle Cam Philly Strong Girl or something like that, you get to see this great video of this person who was in the same graduating class as me, which is. We have this weird pocket of really interesting people up
in this area
definitely
does, man.
Yeah,
it definitely does. There's a lot of
sometimes
weird
I
raw
think that I'm
talents that
just
have
being
come out.
conceited, and I think all of our friends deserve a show, and all of our friends deserve attention. But then I'm like, nah, most of our friends are pretty fucking interesting.
We've had some lucky people to completely digress. We've had the high school split, but one of our good friends, his name's Jonathan Fernandez. He's on Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon, the TV show. He's like the
show
fourth
on Fox.
male lead.
And I don't know if this is a spoiler alert or not, but he's going to be on the new Gilmore Girls reboot. But I don't know if this is. I don't know if I'm spoiling things or not.
Okay, I don't have the Gilmore Girls shirt on. I almost wore my Gilmore Girls shirt tonight. That would have been even better. And
then we and also graduating class, we had this wonderful woman named Alexis Cohen, who was on American Idol twice, who's since left us, but mad props to her for being a wonderful
she was an
inspiration.
Original spirit. Like, she was somebody we all knew, like, on the bus. She was the girl on the bus. And then she went on American Idol and just became not William Hung level, but for a year or two.
For sure.
She was on that level of just pure spirit and just pure who she was. That I totally forgot about her. Oh my god.
Yeah. And again, that's not to discredit anybody else who isn't doing things that are YouTube worthy, because everybody's doing their own thing and it's amazing. But anyway, so I had these people constantly in my ear saying, like, do this for me, do this for me. Well, I had already done a podcast for Modern Drummer Magazine, and I had already also done a podcast. I helped start a podcast network called the Heritage Radio Network, which is still a very big podcast network that was built on the slow food movement. So there's a lot of food stuff and music stuff. And I was like, you know what? I can do this myself. I know how to make websites. I know how to... So I started Moot.tv, and I was like, I'm going to do this for myself. So White Wasabi was the first podcast, which was kind of cool and still gets a lot of listens despite us not having an episode, as Kyle said, in like 2 years because it's anime. And then...
the bitches love anime.
Anime is awesome. It's a niche thing, even though it's a mainstream thing, so that's really cool.
One day we'll get Kyle to watch...
I watched Last Airbender and a bunch of
That's
Christian,
not anime.
Airbender
is not anime.
Yeah,
you know
it's amazing. First off, it doesn't count.
You know,
I mean, it is amazing.
We're starting is Akira. You have to watch
Akira. You need to watch Akira.
We actually missed our opportunity because they just put it out in theaters in 4K.
Oh, last year they did a whole summer.
Well, no, just when they reopened the theaters, just recently, they put Akira in 4K.
That's what's up.
You missed out. That was the only chance that I had. I'm sorry, guys.
There's a ton, man. I mean, there's stuff there that you'd like. Sure. I've been recently listening just to the Cowboy Bebop OSTs over and over again.
Oh, my Bebop is like...
Yeah, right? Oh, God. So, I mean, there's so much there. But anyway, so we started with the White Wasabi, and then just like you and I, Kyle, I hadn't talked to host Anthony for like 4 or 5 years. Me and Anthony have known each other since 1990, or maybe 91. But we've gone in and out of phases, and he's definitely one of my best friends, which I think is really interesting. Being an old ass man, you like have best friends that you don't talk to for literally 4 years.
Yeah.
At a time.
Yeah, and it's just like time hasn't passed. That's
totally.
That's the best
the
friendship
sign of a real friend. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And so I said, like, we're doing White Wasabi with Greg Aman, and I was like, Anthony is, if he's still in the chat, what's up? He either can really talk or he can't shut the fuck up.
Because right now, stupid is here is pointed right at your head.
Yeah, I know. He's like,
and he's not going to say anything else.
I'll turn over here and do the boat.
He'll later have to do. Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
yeah,
there we
steer
go.
the boat. Steer the boat.
And so it was so awesome that like we came up. The original premise was which would you prefer, which would be a either or question, and then we just started. We did the pilot episode. Greg Aman was there because he's from White Wasabi, and I feel like Greg Aman is a good balance because me and Anthony talk a lot, and Greg Aman is usually the voice of reason.
Your latest episode, to interject, you had Tom, right?
Tobacco Tom Feck, yes.
Tom Feck.
Yeah.
And you had him on for your 200 and 200.2 episodes, and Greg sits in the background of that second episode and then just comes in and beautifully sums everything that you guys have been saying up. It's a great I don't know. It's just a great cohesion.
It's a true allusion to life. Yeah. Like Greg has always been that to me in my personal life, and so I think it's really cool that like me and Anthony are definitely elevated versions of ourselves on the show.
Yeah.
But
Greg is Greg.
Greg is Greg. Yeah. And like I've always depended on him, and he's if I broke he lives in Texas now, and I live in DC area. Right. I'd still call him first if I had a flat tire. Like. And I think that comes through on the show, which is amazing.
Yeah. We'll say Zach's closer. You can just call Zach from now on.
Well, and so that's what started Moot.tv, and that's where we keep on pushing it. And then I loved your podcast, your old podcast. I thought that was so cool how you were analyzing music.
We've lost most every episode of that to just time and computers.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's the community that I want to build.
Table in here.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a table. Our original setup was this room.
The big kitchen
There was
table
just the
in here.
kitchen table in the middle.
We had
Halfway
like 27 people on a podcast.
Halfway through recording, we're like, oh, we keep putting cups down, and people are vaping, and there's all this extra noise.
Keith is vaping.
Yeah, Keith was vaping. Yeah, that was pretty much all it was. Yeah.
My crazy ex-girlfriend is screaming.
Yeah, yes.
Sometimes.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes,
oh, my God.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. Just saying.
In the middle of an episode. She broke the record player in the middle of an episode, and it's lost. I forgot about that. Continuing.
No, I mean, I did enjoy the concept of that, and I think it's a good idea maybe to do 15-minute episodes where you're recording a half hour to 45 minutes and cutting it down.
Yeah.
I would not be opposed to doing something
Our original
on that,
idea of let Kyle try to listen to a discography of his choosing and a discography of somebody else's choosing in the course of 1 week, and then let's talk about it. It lasted 6 weeks because I could only deal with that for 6 weeks. We started that show off with the original run of Kyle will Go On Shut Up with Pink Floyd versus Modest Mouse, and I listened to the entire discography of both bands and went, this isn't going to last for long. Like,
sure, yeah. You did the homework, that's why.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But we should go back and do album versus album.
Album versus album's easier. Much easier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so that's how the musical journey of Moot.tv got started, and
where does
still
the name
continuing.
come from? Is it like Moot Point type of deal?
It was kind of like that, yeah. I just thought that, like, I realized that whatever we were doing didn't really matter, but also that's the stuff that matters. And so I was like, it's all moot. And then I looked up the URLs, and I could have got .com, I could have got whatever, but I thought .tv was kind of neat, kind of unique. Even though it confuses lots of people, but the people that get it, And so
how
I'm
many
hoping
people
that
go, I went to moot.tv.com and it didn't work?
I mean, thankfully, since we put an SSL certificate for the graphic design nerds out there, our numbers have gone way up, and
Gotta have that SSL anymore, man.
Gotta have that SSL for the SEO.
Secure goddamn site.
And because
you're not getting ripped off.
And then not only because of who we happen to know because of our high school following, but to relate it back to the music thing. Like I've happily had a lot of cool experiences, and so like as Kyle said, we've had this guy's name is Tobacco, or he goes by Blackmouth Super Rainbow is his other project. He's done a theme song to Silicon Valley.
When I said that he was on your show, Zach was like, Nah.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, no, he was on the show.
I'm
And he was like, wait, they had tobacco, and he said Black Moss and all that. I'm like, I don't know, this guy tobacco. I never heard of him.
I've been a fan since way back.
I started listening to him like in fucking well over a decade ago. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, like Dandelion Gum, like I heard that, and he's playing those shows, the Flaming Licks at South by Southwest a million years ago. I remember I was living in Brooklyn at the time. Name dropping, deuce dropping, again, correct me if I'm ever doing that. But I was like, I love this guy, it's amazing. I had to relocate back to the Poconos of Pennsylvania because of life circumstances, and I answered a Craigslist ad where someone was like, we're looking for a drummer that likes Black Moss Super Rainbow, Boards of Canada, and I think they said My Bloody Valentine. I said, right on.
That's a weird.
I love all
that's
those
a weird mix,
so much.
but yeah.
And we're gonna be maybe doing some shoegaze later this season. So
well, there you go. And so and then
really comes in.
And this is where I relate to actually a couple other people on your show too, like Cliff Albert and others.
I totally forgot
Small
about the
World
connection.
stuff. So I ended up playing in the band that Cliff played in. If you're
who just played a live show at the Sherman on Sunday,
Really?
in Stroudsburg. They played a live stream show
without Cliff or with Cliff?
Without Cliff. But this as you're about to say, the Stargazer Lilies.
Yeah, so I ended up connecting with them. Had really great experiences with them, and we got to open up for Black Moss Super Rainbow in Savannah, Georgia, for the label that we would eventually be on. And so that's how I met them. And now Tom is one of my closest friends. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. But yeah, like it was just so amazing to me.
Don't show his face. As long as you don't show his face, you're good.
You don't like showing his face. We could show his butt if you look at the Let Me Ask You a Question Instagram.
In those shorts, it's beautiful.
But yeah, like it's so amazing. I know this seems so crazy, but it was. He was one of my musical heroes. Those albums were amazing, and then I get to eventually through the grapevine, however it worked, and they have an interesting story too. The Stargazer Lilies, they owned a photo studio in New York City, and they happened to go down to South Street Seaport, which is a park in Manhattan.
Okay.
And Black Moth Super Rainbow was playing a free live show outside, and John, the guitar player of said band, goes up to Tom and was like, "Hey, I know you're on tour. You got a lot of time. Here's our CDs if you want to listen to them in the van. I respect your work," and then walks away.
Yeah.
And he gets a call almost 6 months later saying like, "Hey, would you like to open up for us?"
Fuck yeah.
That's cool.
And that's how that happens. And then I answer a Craigslist ad months or years later, and then I get to meet him, and then we've toured with Tobacco and Black Moth Super Rainbow nationally. I got to play drums all over this country, really because of the chance that John took just to go to that show and give a CD out. So talking about circumstance and stuff like that, it's amazing, and I'm grateful for it every day. Just how crazy it is, and my girlfriend likes to say the saying, which is popular, but of course it's totally true: shoot your shots.
Yeah.
And what's the worst that could happen? Someone embarrasses you or something, or you get punched in the face. What's the worst? Yeah. So really just do it. Why not?
It's just for Loko, swallow it up, man.
Yeah, just for Loko, chug the whole thing.
Which after do you just keep your rating at this point?
I still keep my rating.
Right. I'm still nursing this.
I'm fucking hammered.
Mine's done, and I'm very drunk.
You finished it?
I finished it. Wait,
I got a little bit.
I still have half mine, dude.
Oh,
there's that much
it's
left.
Bad. Still don't buy this
let's
shit.
be honest. That Four Lokos can sit in your desk for a week.
Yeah, you're right.
Least.
It is.
Oh. Now, in addition to Stargazer Lilies, you've worked with Brian Bonds a lot. He's been a guest on the show.
Correct. Yes.
And Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have this thought in my head that there's kind of a, with touring bands, bigger touring bands, you will kind of collect in a way bands that open for you. You'll meet people that are like-minded, like-spirited, people that you bond with. And when somebody goes, "Hey, I need somebody to fill in for X, Y, and Z on this show or this tour or whatever," they'll tap certain people that they've already known. Brian Bonds, at some point, did play, and you were roommates with Brian, right?
Correct. Yeah. We after during the band, but yeah, we moved into it. Yeah.
And he has played with Kevin Devine.
Yes, actually, I got to play bass for Kevin on a tour. And you got to play
bass for Kevin Devine because Kevin Devine's bass player was Brian, and Brian's backup was you, pretty much.
Something like that.
Something along those lines. So when I look at it in the scene way of if you extrapolate from there, Brand New, prior to their falling out and their disbanding and all of that, Brand New would tour, and they were very good friends with Kevin Devine. Yeah. Kevin Devine would then in turn act as an alternate with them if needed. Brian Bonds might then be his alternate if he wasn't available.
Well, they did an acoustic tour, the three of them, actually. Yeah.
So then, by proxy, in the way that, if the president were to die, the vice president, or not be able to, let's not say die. If the
especially
president,
today,
if the president were if the president were not able to make their serve their duty, the vice president would take it. If the vice president wouldn't be able to take it, the Speaker of the House would. And then after that, I kind of fall off. But you are the person, kind of in that line. Then, if you were Brian Bonds, so I remember at least once or twice on drunken nights, meeting a girl that was just kind of really into Brand New, just going, "Well, my buddy's fourth in line to be the bass player for Brand New. If shit goes really down south, all the way down, he would be the next in line there."
And I got to kill the three guys ahead of him.
You could.
Yeah, I got to make good friends too with his cousin Derek, who actually he would play as guitar player on Brand New, but part of that falling out was part of that greater story. But I'll leave that at that. But I got to do some graphic design for his band.
Very cool.
And being a graphic designer along with being a musician definitely helped, because it was we don't like you as a musician, but can you make a postcard? So I would definitely try to weasel my way into these situations whatever way I could.
Is that what you do for a living now, is still graphic design?
Half and half at the moment. At the immediate moment, I do half freelance graphic design. Moot.tv, of course, we're making billions. But then also...
I've got a lot of bills I'm about to send.
Right. It all trickles down. Trickle-down economics.
It worked since the 80s.
We'll be receiving $1.
We'll bill you.
But also, I've been grateful, but I won't mention this, but I've been teaching music at one of the national music schools, which has been really cool, too, and really rewarding. Not monetarily, but emotionally, it's been really, really cool.
Hell yeah.
So those are my two main gigs, aside from, of course, pouring my heart and soul into Moot.tv.
Yes, 100%. Now, to shift our focuses over to Lamayak, let me ask you a question. Again, just celebrated 200 episodes, 200-ish episodes, we can put it, because you have your pilot episode that is not counted.
No, there's a couple other ones in there too.
And then you have this is our official, not official. I forgot how you guys phrase it.
Yeah.
But you guys have. It's been 4 years consistently of being able to tune in every Monday or whenever you want to get your Moot Monday drop. You can get it on Wednesday if you want, but it's been 4 years of that Monday drop.
It's been 4 years since we dropped it on Mondays. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good. That worked.
That worked. And we. Oh God, I'm drunk. All right. But I started really listening about 6 months in. I'm like, okay, they're doing this consistently. And of the friends, and we as I said before, I think a lot of the people that we grew up around that have a lot of talent, a lot of untapped potential, if you will. And you guys putting out your show was just kind of like a reaffirmation for me of okay, we can do this. We can come back and we can do this. So we did our initial run. 6 months after we end our run, you guys start up, and about a year or so later, we kick back off. And I'll give a big shout out to Shauna Rajo, because I remember getting a text message from him at some point that was just why the hell haven't I heard any more episodes of Kyle Mocha Won't Shut Up?
Yeah, right on.
And it was basically him, in the nicest way possible, throwing my shit in my face and just going yo man, you were doing something, now you're not doing something. What the fuck? I know this is something you like.
You had been moved away at that point.
Yeah, we did we had some medical induced journeys of sorts that led me to think that I should go do other things in my life.
Now, me and Justin have lived in this house for
9 years,
8 years,
forever.
Yeah.
Can I ask Zach to expand on that while I take a Zach type break and I come right back and answer some questions? If you know what I mean, what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you gotta pee.
I gotta pee.
You gotta pee.
And this is important, so I want to make sure I can sit through it.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Pee. I'm just gonna randomly ramble on. But when Sean, I remember Sean messaging me about that and just being kind of man, you guys were putting shit out and then you weren't. And it definitely was for me kind of if there are a handful of people in my life that can look at me dead to the core and go you were doing something you liked and then you stopped doing it. He is somebody that I feel has always kind of followed what he thoroughly enjoys and followed what he liked and had I might be speaking out of turn on this, but had less holdups about what he was putting out than I did at first. We had a lot of fun with that first run. You guys were involved with most of it.
Yeah.
There were a couple episodes that were at Richard's place and stuff like that. Right. But it was us doing that show initially and then taking that break and then me moving away and me coming back and me moving to Philly and then me coming back from Philly and being all right, we should be putting our energy into something and producing something here. And Eric will hear this on the playback, I guess, but I owe a lot. I mean, not only to the two of you guys for helping me put all these shows out and everything, But to having somebody like Eric that I could turn around to and be like, hey man, I want to start doing this again, blah blah blah. We're gonna put it out on YouTube and everything. But then like almost towards the end of season 1, it was just like, hey Eric, can you just drop all of our first season all at once right now?
Right.
And that dropped it. And I mean, we had our shit going at that point.
Right.
You know, our first season, we had that all moving and everything. But I don't know, it was a weird moment for me and for the show between when we did our first 6 episodes, and then we took pretty much almost, I feel like it was 2 years, but whatever it was, like a year and a half off between all of them. And then we came back, and then again, as I was saying before Eric stepped back in, luckily we had somebody like Eric that I was able to turn around to and be like, let's just put this out on your thing. Because we've always been about the mentality of the more the merrier, the more lines in the water, the more fish you're going to catch.
The more lines.
The more lines. We can end that sentence there. So Eric, where were you going to get to before you took your constitutional?
Damned if I know.
Yeah, me too.
Something about Zach expanding on something.
Zach expanding on things.
I was just using his
Spin in my brain.
take a pee.
It was a clever way to take a pee. I'll give you that. I'll 100% give you that.
I will say, I remember when you came back, I think we were at Floods, and you brought it up and said you wanted to do the show again.
Yeah.
And immediately I was in, and I think that's when we were like, you know what, fuck it, let's try a Twitch stream.
Yes.
Because I was fucking around with Twitch at that point, and I had things set up.
Yeah, we did one other lost episode of Kyle Mocha that went right to stream, that you weren't there for that
and
one.
And that shit, immediately, like within that week, I was like, this is not going to last. I took down the video. So we can't keep this as an active thing. You know, like we need something that's going to sustain and more readily available to edit or, you know, be able to extract files. Like I can go onto YouTube and just download all of our files. It doesn't matter. And then I can do whatever I want with it from that point.
Jerk off to him.
If I wanted to.
If he wants to. Not if he wanted to. If he wants to. It's a current thing.
Yeah.
He might want to right now.
But, I mean, I thoroughly
enjoy making the show. We're all right with it. If you want to jerk off right now, Justin, you can go. You can just do it. You can just do it.
We're having a live group jerk later.
Yep.
That's the after show.
That's the extra.
It's going to be.
You have to pay for that on our Patreon.
That's the Patreon.
Kyle Mocha more?
Kyle Mocha won't come more.
I'm looking forward.
No, it would just be called Everyone's Coming on Kyle tonight. That would be that one,
But I'm just looking forward to continually progressing the show and being able to look back. Like, from where we're at right now, like I was talking to you earlier, there are things that for the next season I want to have ready.
Yep.
And to change or get better equipment. Like I was talking about getting 2 DSLRs and just putting it on a card and paying it off and like just having better equipment, but being able to look at what we were at with no video and shitty fucking audio quality.
Fun thing. Like the fun thing for me, for our show specifically, and then to segue back to Lamayak, is watching the progress. And I don't know, Eric, if you do this ever, but I'll go back once in a while and I'll listen to an old episode of our show and I'll go, okay, it wasn't bad, but it's nothing that I would want to go, hey, go listen to this.
Right.
If someone asks
I completely agree.
If someone asks me what the best episode to listen to of my show is, I go last week's episode. And
last week, and our show evolved too from where like, first, like you were just talking about, the audio quality was terrible, and then I learned better about the tricks and trades. Because we've always done it remotely. We've never done it in person. So that's something that I've been proud of because most people don't know that.
We will get you all together in person and we will
here at the house.
We've got like 2 of those episodes ourselves. I'd love to do it there. Of course, it would be better. They're like our worst episodes. They sound the worst because that's not what I was used to. I wasn't used to doing that way, you know? So,
you gotta get real fucked up before you do them. That's
and in the beginning, I was all about archive.org, and so I was taking these cool videos and putting them together and making the music for the middle. And then we decided we were going to try to do what you guys are doing, but I don't know what the chronology was, but we're like, we're going to try to write a song every week.
Yeah.
And then like we're like, we can't do that. And so then now Then we went back to doing videos, and now I write like a little ditty every week, but it's not like what you guys do. You know, I like fuck around and put some digital BS, but
yeah.
I mean, at the same time, like there are 3 of us compared to. I mean, not saying that Zach wouldn't have a song ready in the amount of time. You know what I mean? But
challenge it.
When we don't have the show, I still write a song every week.
That's true.
I think all together is a gift. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, you guys get to write together.
To Zach write and produce like 3 songs in one day, and I'm just like, yeah, it sounds good. I don't have anything to do with on this one.
Right.
I might have written ideas on how I would rap to it, and that's about it.
Well, it's the most fucking cockhead thing I'll ever say. Is like, I am so not out of ideas yet.
Yeah.
I've got so many fucking ideas.
Yeah. Well, like, everything keeps
we can
coming.
keep writing songs forever. I'm never going to run out of ideas.
And maybe one day we accidentally write the same song again. And that is what I genuinely am hoping happens, is one day we go, oh, musically this is almost the same song. I just did something vocally different. Or we go, musically it's totally different, but I did the exact same, and we haven't yet. We haven't gotten to that point yet.
We also haven't gotten past just Zach's ideas. Like most of the time it's like he'll be like, we'll just be sitting there and be like, all right, here's the write up for this next album or whatever. And we're like, okay, cool. But I mean, we get our input and whatnot, but like to totally flesh out an idea or something that we've had, it's primarily been Zach's forerun. You know what I mean? So like if he had a moment where it was like, I really don't know what to do, we have 2 other heads to be like, well, how about this idea?
And that's the fun thing. Again, as Zach said, he's not out of ideas, and we have yet to tap our ideas. But to bring it back to, let me ask you a question. Anthony asks a question every single episode. Sometimes you've done it, sometimes Greg has done it. Once in a while, it's been a listener call-in or a fan-submitted idea or a guest idea. Do you have, to kind of wrap this all up, do you have one question that he has asked you that is like, you went, all right, this is the most ridiculous thing. How are you going to has there ever been one that was just like so far-fetched that you didn't know how to answer it up front? And if not that, what is your just favorite overall question or conversation you've had based on a question?
So I'm going to give you the same bullshit that I get of Anthony, because like usually when he asks me a question, my brain goes to completely different places. So I'm gonna give you a big, long-winded question that isn't the answer to the question you asked.
I always love non-answers.
There you go. So Anthony will often ask a question, and the listeners will listen to it in the context of a stranger and or a podcast host asking a question. I've known Anthony for a long ass time. Literally, I've been as long as I've been alive, almost, -5, or -6, like almost as long as I've been alive. So, and I had a great conversation with Anthony. Like we are best friends. We don't talk as often as we want, but we talk as often as we can, as it does when you're an old ass man.
Life.
That's what it is, man.
So whenever I listen to a question, I'm not listening to the question, and I try to have enough drinks, and I try to have a blank mind, but I often think of them in the context of Anthony. So there's questions that might seem super simple that I completely think are bullshit, and there's also questions that are super complex that I also think that Anthony's doing a thing.
Okay.
Which is really complicated as a co-host or as a performer, because we're performing on these podcasts.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I'm certainly an elevated
that's why I look
version
so
of myself.
Good for this.
I'm not laughing. I'm smiling with agreement.
Continue.
But to anybody who has listened to the show, well, anybody who hasn't, please take a listen to a couple.
Yes.
If they're for you, cool. If not, that's totally cool. It's Let Me Ask You a Question. It's on the same network, Moot.tv. That's a website. You can check it out. A lot of the where he would, as we made a joke about it, he would be like, God comes down or an angel comes down. So a lot of that stuff, because of my religious disposition, I always think are kind of silly.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the more recent ones, I've tried to come to a lighthearted. There's a recent episode with his cousin Derek D, the comedian. Derek I tried to forget about myself and tried to answer the question honestly from the position if I, So a lot of the religious questions, I usually have a different skewed thing. And then in the beginning, in the very beginning, the sexual questions made me uncomfortable, but as time went on, they made Greg uncomfortable, and then I just went for it. And so, like, and you know, as much as there's a billion people listening to both of our podcasts, there's only like-minded people listening. So I've got a little more confidence, so I'm not afraid to say what I want to say.
Goat fuckers.
Yeah, we have all the goat fucker. We have the goat fucker market on lock. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, the goat fuckers are listening and the non-goat fuckers aren't, is kind of the point, right?
And
like, if you don't like it, then that's okay. They don't listen.
Listening.
Yeah, so I apologize. I don't have any specifics.
No, hell yeah, man. No, it doesn't matter at all.
I mean, I will say last season I did enjoy.
Yeah, we were doing our segment, Let Me Ask You a Question from Let Me Ask You a Question, and every week you guys had a new one. We were throwing that in last season. Right. I would like to just kind of end on probably the one that we never got to on our show, recapping your show. Because once in a while we would go live and you hadn't put the episode out yet, or you were off that week, or something like that happened, and we would fill in with a past one. And the one that I always wanted to just ask, it's kind of like a rapid fire. We don't need to go into deep discussion with Justin and Zach on these, but just to ask you, marry, fuck, kill. I don't know if you remember this, Eric, but marry, fuck, kill the xenomorph, predator, and a gray alien. Because we're all sci-fi nerds over here. Marry,
this is a great
fuck,
one. Yeah,
kill.
this is a good one.
It's
this is a good one.
Such a good one.
Wait, say this again. Xenomorph,
easy.
predator, or gray alien?
Predator, a regular gray.
Xenomorph is a regular alien from the movie Aliens. For those who don't know.
For the non-nerds. For you nerds that don't know.
I think I remember what I said. So
I don't remember what you said. I would say, marry, fuck, kill. I'm gonna marry the predator.
Hands down.
For sure.
I need a man to take care of me.
And just hope that he takes care of me.
That's what I'm for. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Much. I'm gonna kill the xenomorph.
Yup.
Right?
Yup.
The xenomorph is getting murdered real quick. And I'm gonna fuck the shit out of that gray.
Well, mentally,
I disagree. See, like I disagree. I would fuck the xenomorph because it doesn't want it, and that makes it fun.
Are you just going for the mouth action, the extra mouth?
Yeah. There's an extra mouth.
There's a lot going on there. It seems slimy, 2 mouths.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, you're getting fucked.
Yeah, are you a fucker or a fucky in that situation?
I'm gonna go with yes.
Which is a pre-show conversation that we were having.
Did you come here to fuck or get fucked?
Yeah, which fuck are you here for?
The gray's boring. The gray's not doing anything. Let's get rid of the gray.
You get rid of the gray.
I don't know. That's true.
Right.
You never know.
But yeah, we're all in agreement that we all
marry
need
that predator.
A predator sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy
That's
predator.
right.
Sugar daddy predator.
Fuck
to
yeah.
take care of us.
For sure.
Fuck yeah.
Bring me a trophy home, predator daddy.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to have to wrap this up at some point, so we might as well do it right here and now, because we could go on for another hour or two with you, Eric. I want to say just a huge thank you, not only for being on the show tonight, short notice. Thank you so much for being on tonight. We're going to have to get Anthony and Greg on at some point as well. But a huge thank you to you for continually putting out our show on Moot.tv. And getting our tens of listeners something to listen to. So
we should all try and do a show with you guys sometime.
We should do just a huge Moot meeting.
That'd
meeting.
be wonderful.
Yeah.
That'd be
where we get you guys, Greg, what is Sensei's name? Because I always thought it was Micah. It's not Micah?
Sensei Match.
I read that wrong.
No, I know. I hear it every week, and it tickles me so that you get it wrong. I love it.
I just say Sensei Micah. I read it
Micah,
once and
Moucha.
Match.
His name is Matt, and we call him Match.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So one day we'll have to get all of us together in one virtual room or a real room. Something like that will happen. But big thank you to EJ5000, our super producer, Eric Tchaikovsky.
Yeah, man, thanks for everything, dude.
Thank you guys. I love your guys' show.
We haven't even gotten into how this tooth has half of a tooth because of a car accident.
I know we have to do this again, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Future episodes.
Yeah.
I didn't talk about Courtney Love yet, who I got to meet. There's a whole bunch of stuff I got to talk about.
We got so much shit to talk about.
There's a lot of stuff to get through.
We'll get there. But a big thank you again to Eric. And go check out Deante Malik again at Deante Malik _97 on Instagram. You can find him anywhere music is available. Big plugs, as always, to Not Movies. which the latest episode of Not Movies
it was great, by the way.
Zach and myself. You watched it? You listened to it?
I listened to it. I put it on at work and made everybody else listen. And I would look around and I'd just see chuckles everywhere. Like,
good.
It was a really good episode.
We wrote a Wes Anderson space western with them, and the next episode will be out in the next couple of weeks as well. A little shorter episode on that. But go check out them, Not Movies. Sean and Dave make music. Our sister podcast, But What Do We Know? And you're here, so I'm not going to shy away from saying our brother-sister love podcast. Let me ask you a question.
Can I throw out a couple plugs too, individually? So my son Milo is the best guitar player I've ever played with. Seriously, he's a young kid, but he's amazing. He's a great songwriter. He's got a band that's in progress called Lockdown Panic Party, so you can follow them on Instagram.
Yes. Nice.
Yeah. And it's real. I mean, I know he's my kid, and so I'm supposed to love him and everything. But he's 14 years old, and he plays guitar. Oh, that must be him. He must have made a fake YouTube account just to write that.
No, that's Jeff. That's one Jeff. Of our guys.
Oh, you got another Jeff? Okay. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Well, then I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Completely amazing guitar player, completely amazing human being. So it's a pleasure to roll up with him. Yes, let me ask you a question, or Lamayak Pod on the Instagram and whatever. We have a subreddit, yada, 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 Moot.tv, wherever you can find it. And thanks to Kyle, he also is promoting my artistic endeavor, We Are All Spies, where you can find some really cool Data Ben Glitch artwork.
Speaking of that, every time I went to go tag you in We Are All Spies, there's a band that I follow called We Are Opal Skies. And I accidentally tagged them for about 2 seconds. I went, oh no, wrong band, wrong thing. No, undo. But literally, We Are Opal Skies, We Are All Spies. They just pop up right below each other.
We got to tour together or something.
I love collab.
Yeah,
right? We got to do something.
Opal Spies.
Yeah.
We like to eat pies. That'd be perfect.
I love pie. You're speaking our language there.
Thank you guys so much. This was such a fun time. I really appreciate it.
This was great.
Congratulations on almost your 100, you said,
100
right?
episodes in 2 weeks. We'll be at our 100th episode.
Amazing.
It's good reconnecting with you, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah. And it's a pleasure meeting you, Zach.
Yes, sir.
It's a good time. Anytime. I will be back next week, whether you like it or not.
All right. We have an open invitation. If you're in the East Stroudsburg area ever, just stop by on Tuesday.
Wide open, yeah.
We invited a couple people tonight thinking they might actually show up, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So there we go.
I'm glad to be your backup.
Hell yeah, brother. Love it. Solid backup. Always a solid backup there. Again, for Moot.tv, go check out Let Me Ask You a Question. The Derek D. Dozen and Kyle Loko on Shut Up on your Moot Monday drops every Monday, dropping alongside, I don't know, other podcasts, the Bill Burr podcast. We'll just tag him this week. Yeah. On the Monday morning podcast by Bill Burr. Now I've said his name. I can tag him in the video. It'll get us 2 more views.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you, as always, to Mr. Justin Olampeda for getting all this put together and put out for the people. And all round of applause.
Yeah, right? Come on. It ain't easy doing what he's doing. Come on. Producer love.
Shout out to Mr. Zachary.
Also
or
claps.
Loko with a hint of black cherry. Hard seltzer.
All right, guys. We will be back next week, where I don't know who our musical guest will be, because we
and
used
neither
next
do
week's
I.
for this week, but we will have old school, hardcore
Walt
excited. Phillips, the meter maid of Stroudsburg, will be there.
Walt is going to be
He is going to be here
I'm
in
excited,
studio with a case of Mickeys, and we're going to get hammered. We're going to talk hardcore. We're
Maybe
talk
some story about floods.
Some hopefully the story of how he got banned for life from
floods.
floods.
Walt yells at us all night.
He's like, bro. All right, guys. We will see you next week live, 9 o'clock, as we do every Tuesday. And here is our closing song to play us out.
Yes.
Fuck you!
Fuck the fans.
Fuck the fans!
Jeff Buckley!
There's nothing more egomaniacal than singing the theme music for your own show. Who am I? Kelsey Grammer. If I could only drink like him, we're gonna write a new one every week. Some will be solid, some will be weak. We're gonna write a new one Every week, some will be solid, some will be total experiments.